Привет! So this is my another live stream from Turkey, and happy holidays everybody. So I'm gonna be talking about the song Don't You Get It from the 96 album Golden Heart by Knopfler, of course. And this is another beautiful song, and it's a part of my Knopfler's Songbook series. The first time I do it live, and so at the beginning I was a little bit nervous because in my regular setup I basically record like 20 takes and then keep going and talking. And here's merely one take, just one take. But the song is so enjoyable to play actually. And it's actually pretty easy to sing and play at the same time, but more on that later on. And so, of course, the main thing everybody wants to learn about this song is the riff. That's pretty obvious, and I have a little history about this particular riff. I learned it obviously many times before, and I played it like this, like just in the fifth position, which is ridiculous, of course. It's almost like playing Money for Nothing, like this. And so I just learned it this basic way, and I would never be satisfied of how it went for me. So then I just recently, somebody asked why I'm not covering this particular song, and I tried it, and in a couple of hours, just like magic, ta-dam, and I finally discovered this. And I can play it practically forever because it's so amazing. And all it is the continuation of this basic Knopfler rhythm which he used many times in many songs, including Money for Nothing and of course Walk of Life. My recent video on this particular rhythm is, I believe, Two Young Lovers, and I recorded it in the last day of summer of 21 or something like that, but anyway. So the basic rhythm, as I said, is Knopfler. Standard rhythm, and I'll just jump right into it. So I divided it into 7 sections basically. So to learn it easier, I divided it into 7 levels. Of course, it's more than 7 levels, and Mark's level would be like 100. So, but anyway, I assembled a little tablature here, so it will be easy to follow along, and of course you can download it. The link is in the description. So the first level, the most basic level, is obviously the double stops melody, basically. So it's a 2-part riff, meaning these good riffs are always 2 parts, meaning that the first part is a call and another part is a response. And so with this riff, notice that the downbeat is actually here. So it's on 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has a lot of this syncopation going on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so it's just double stops, 2 notes here, 2 notes here, and so on. Just a little pentatonic line, and I'll play it in full, so you'll get a glimpse of how it can sound. Something like this. 2, 3, 4. This is the first part. This is the response part. And so this second part ends on this just beautifully, because the first part, the call, ends on just on this 5th fret line, and the second part ends, everything just repeats like it was before, but ends on just to have this point in the story. So that's your first level, just melody in double stops. It reminds me so many songs, but it's all 4th and 3rd string. And again, that's your first level, so let's continue with the level 2. And so my idea is that this riff gets harder and harder to play on each level. And so, of course, level 1 can be hard for people, but anyway. So after the first level, I just love to break down the things a little bit into levels. So the second level, I would add the A bass note, basically on every beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course combine it with the riff, which then like this. But now we have this 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, notice all these syncopations, where, for instance, this the very first note, I already said that it starts on an offbeat, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1. And so you rarely can see here a melody and the bass played at the same time, because it's all syncopated basically, and I'll play it 1, 2, 3, 4. sounds already like some sort of a blues tune. I believe if you really want to, you can play it like this. So that's your level 2. Level 1 was the melody. Level 2 is adding a bass on every beat. Now, level 3 might not make sense to you, but I'll explain myself. So level 3 is gonna be adding a bass not on every beat, but on the first and the fourth, in the first and the third beat. So it would sound like this. Bum bum bum, 1, 2, 3, 4. Believe it or not, but it's harder to play than the previous level. On the previous level, it's just it's more straightforward. It's all the time bass. But here, it creates a lot of space you need to feel, and so it's harder to control. But it will make more sense later on just to leave this, to leave second and the fourth beat, because it's reserved for something else. And so I'll play it right now in this new version. So level 3, playing a bass on every 2 beats basically. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was the level 3. Again, to recap for new viewers, is 7 levels of the song. The song Don't You Get It from Knopfler's 96th album Golden Heart. And so level 1 was just a melody. Anybody can play that, I believe. And notice the rhythm starting on an offbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1. Then I would add the bass. On every beat. And on the third level, I would drop the second and fourth bass, and it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was level 3. And so on the level 4, it's adding a downstroke on every second and fourth beat. But so something like a snare drum would play. This downstroke with two fingers. By the way, I'm blocking the first and the second string here. I just hold my fingers on these strings, so everything is blocked. And it's funny that this Knopfler rhythm actually forces you to into his playing position, which is like this. And I never play like this. I can't do it. So, but it forces me to just the sound of it, and just the approach to play it just forces me to first move my hand here closer to the bridge, and second put these two fingers here to block everything. And so it just forces me to play sort of to play like Knopfler holds his hand, but it's not my natural playing position. But anyway, the next level is adding a downstroke on the fourth and the second and the fourth beats, and it sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically, adding this rhythm to it. Don't think about what you're hitting with the downstroke. It can be just these two notes. Again, a lot of syncopation here. And again, my setup here is blocking the first two strings and playing everything else with these fingers. I honestly can't even think of the other way to approach it. So if I would play like I would normally play it, it sounds bad because it's the volume is too low, and I constantly hitting the first two strings, and so I really need to block it, and that hand position makes sense here. Just to put this energy into this. And by the way, on this fourth level, if you play it really fast, it starts to sound like the real thing. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. the key ingredients are here. And the key ingredients are the bass, this constant bass, and this rhythm is also constant, so it's like this constant move here. This is the backbone of this little riff here. And notice that to this point it's all straight, like just 8 notes. And nothing really complicated, but on the level 5 it really gets tricky to play, really, because the main idea on the level 5 is the level 5 is to play a little bit with the rhythm and add some additional syncopated bass moves, so it sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. And so see what I did there? So again, here's the tablature. This is the starting point, and right away, right off the bat, this little bass note here. If we take a look at the 4th level, there are no such bass note here, because that's the additional. So level 4 sounds like this. So straight notes. No syncopation at all. And now the same thing here. Notice how this beat got into 2 8th notes, and so it becomes this it adds this syncopation here. And which basically means that this bass note comes before the 3rd beat. This is 1, 1, 2, 3. Before it was 1, 2, 3. And so I added this syncopated bass note here. And it also repeats. Especially here, where it's at. Boom, 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 boom. It's here. Again, this syncopated bass note, and it comes obviously before the next bar, which sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's, long story short, is that it just creates this little jump, and so it sounds a little bit more funky than it would sound like these straight notes. that's boring. That's boring stuff. But if you add this little syncopated bass, that it becomes something like this. And especially here, instead of that's a boring version, and the spiced up version is just adding 2 additional syncopated bass notes. And here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like the beginning. So in the beginning, melody starts before the first beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And same thing with bass. And that's basically the level 5, and I'll play it right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Change, but a really noticeable one, and especially in the enjoyment that you get from playing something like this, because not only it sounds boring, but it's also boring to play when you play only. It doesn't have this like this funky element, because and that, especially that part, you sort of attacking this note even more with the syncopated bass instead of. That's boring. That's fun. And it also get you an opportunity to play even harder these 2 notes, to play it even harder than you would play it with only with the straight rhythm. And always, just if it makes no sense to you, just keep tapping your foot and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Syncopated line, and so that was the level 5, and it's already mind-boggling, but it's getting even more interesting at the level 6. And by the way, if I'll play the level 5 really fast, sounds already almost like there. But we've got a lot of ways to improve that little riff, and so the level 6 is all about this. It's just adding all the embellishments that you can think of in this riff. And so talking about stuff like, first of all, these two notes are played like this short staccato fashion. A lot of these short things here, and I also block a lot of strings here, so it sounds like. So let's go bar by bar. So it starts. And here in this bar, it's a little embellishment here, and it goes like this. So it's and the downstroke, then bass, upstroke, hammer on the 5th fret. I play it like this with the big stretch, but it's possible to play it like this, but I don't recommend it. So, and notice that downstroke goes again on this A5 chord, so it goes like, and in context it sounds like this. And it loops back into the A5 nicely. Nice, a little slide here to this part. Bum, bum. And this is also a great line and reminds me of Money for Nothing, because that's same exact shape. And in context again, it's so 5th and 7th fret, and it's actually hammer pull off with the 3rd finger and downstroke at the same time, but it's level 6. What do you want? And again, this syncopated bass here, and this 7th fret is actually a single note, because what I do here is I basically block the first 2 strings with my right hand, 2 fingers here, and I block the 3rd string with a tip of the ring finger here, and so it becomes a single note here. And I also block the 5th string with my thumb, and so this I can play it like this, and I also block the 6th string with my thumb, so I can play all the strings, but only one string actually rings. And that's the second embellishment, really hard to play, I must admit. Then again, this little line. All the rest are the usual stuff. And so going to the seventh rhythm, I can play news because it's overdriven sound, and news is played on played without an overdrive for sure. But going on the last level, at least in my little experience here, is the seventh level, which goes like so. This is the icing on the cake, and this is all about adding a little bit of the signature Knopfler rhythm. So if I play it without this signature rhythm, it sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. It sounds like this, sorry. And even more faster it sounds. Almost there, but it's missing a crucial ingredient. And actually, probably to my ear at least, it's missing the most important bit, which is this signature Knopfler rhythm again, which is as simple as thumb, index, downstroke, and upstroke. Again, this is like I approach it. I know that it may be different, and especially with Mark's unique approach and style, but it sounds like it's sort of my way of approaching this little rhythm. And again, to dig deeper into this, I recommend my video on Two Young Lovers, which is this great. It has the same type of rhythm, and this. And the main thing about it is that it's bouncy, and so it has this. And the funny thing is that in the beginning of the song, I don't get it. It's actually the same type of rhythm, only played with this third fret natural harmonic, which sounds amazing, and the whole recording is just perfect. When I was picking it up, I was just amazed about the quality of the recording, quality of the snare drum alone is just the perfect snare drum sound. Can't get better than this. And the whole arrangement is actually really amazing. And not only it has a great intro, the whole body of the song is just perfectly executed, and it doesn't even have a fade out. It could have fade out, but it doesn't, and it sounds just like a live recording, and it might have been played live. I remember that a lot of the Golden Heart album actually was played live, so songs like Rudiger and some other songs are just completely live. And Done with Bonaparte, I believe was also done live, with the addition of the electric guitar part, which was, I believe, played over. But all in all, it's extremely live. It has this live feeling going on for sure. But anyway, this ingenious third natural harmonic on the third fret. The only thing is that it has this particular arrangement of accents. So it's the same rhythm, yes. Bass, upstroke, downstroke. Bass, up, down, up. So it has this arrangement of accents, beautiful arrangement. So this upstroke is really exaggerated here. But anyway, I was talking about this rhythm, and the idea here is to add this little rhythm into this. Here, I played it just. I tried to play it without. With this rhythm, it sounds at last it sounds like I played in the beginning, which is hear that. And I'll show how it will actually look on the tablature. So it begins here. And hear this little sneaky little rhythm. So if I'm being exact here, it would sound like this: thumb, index, downstroke, then index and thumb, and all the rest is like before. then all the rest is the same until this line here. This line with a slide, so it goes like. How it goes. And the idea is the same. Idea is to add this rhythm here. The whole idea here is to make it feel as if this riff is built on this. Seamless, you never noticed. And the way you can also try to experiment with this is what I would call a reverse engineering. And so what it is basically you take this rhythm I was talking about, which is Mark's signature rhythm, which is, if you slow it down, it really looks like this. Eighth notes, and it sounds like this. So this first one is with the thumb, then index upstroke, downstroke with 2 fingers, and again upstroke with an index finger. Again, I was talking about reverse engineering, and that's actually how you can get to pick up this riff. Is like if you go just note by note here, the starting point is already there. It's then you get. So it goes here. And it means that these two go here on the. But you can't play, at least you don't need to play the bass, so this bass goes away. This bass goes away either because it's the melody here. This melody comes here, and so this bass also goes away. This bass goes away as well. This bass goes away as well, but it has a downstroke, so it stays. And this bass goes away in favor of this melody here. And so what I just created is exactly the first, basically exactly the first beat of the 7th level, which I wrote here. Just by reverse engineering the Knopfler's signature rhythm and incorporating the melody here. And if you'll do it to the whole thing, you will get actually exactly this thing here. And these little notes here will make perfect sense. So again, I reverse engineered this riff and concluded that that's actually the way I think it was played. Again, this song never played live. Mark never played it live, to my recollection, and so it's one of these songs that you can rely exclusively on ears, and so at least that's the way I do it. And it's enjoyable to play, extremely enjoyable to play. I can't stress enough how enjoyable to play. And it's actually not that hard to sing and play at the same time, because the melody is simply don, don, bo, 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 don, it's just the same thing that Mark sings. It's the same thing is being played on a guitar. The one bit I would recommend here is that the singing is actually starts on the first beat, so pay attention where the beats are here. Again, I was talking about this melody. This riff starts actually on an off beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And singing also starts not on an off beat, but on the first beat, and it sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. By the way, this is the first time I really I know the song that uses 3 open strings, and it sounds so beautiful because it starts on the 4th and the 1st string, and then the bass. And the way it sounds when you sing it. It's really blues-like, and it reminds me of some classic and memorable Jimi Hendrix songs. And just the same thing that's being played on a guitar just repeats in the voice, and so it makes perfect sense when you combine the two. Makes perfect sense to combine the two, and it's actually harder to play. I just tried it, and it's harder to play to combine the melody alone. But it's possible. hour into the song, and I finally can talk about the rest of the song, which is funny because the first beat is this bluesy blues stuff and really overdriven, and this just like a sports car song. I think it always makes me think about cars, and this blues song, extremely powerful, and the sort of songs that you can hear in car, basically. So the second half, on the other hand, is like your basic folk, just a folk strumming song. It reminds me of some songs actually from Sting, because in The Police you have some songs that like I can't remember how it goes. Every breath you take. I mean, I played it, but I can't remember it right away. But the thing is, the first half is this extremely hard jazz influenced first half, and then it just goes into this message in a bottle. And it reminds me of that. It's just a complicated first part. Complicated blues song really in the beginning, but the second half is just a simple strumming. And the way it works is that from this blues pentatonic line, it goes through the G to C major. So it actually modulates into C major for the chorus, which is unusual and makes perfect sense. And so G, F major 7, and the C here, it actually sounds with on the second half of the bar, it's with the bass goes like. So this, it makes it almost like C with E in the bass. G, F major 7, G, C, almost like something you can play on an ukulele. F, it's a little melody here. And then it goes to the bridge, which is composed of two chords. G going to F. And the cool thing about it is that you can play it basically with a G on top of both chords, and it gets to sound like this. And the chorus sings. And then modulates back to A minor. It's a beautiful modulation through D to E the chorus it modulates from G to C. Just amazing stuff. And actually this particular beat here, when it goes from D to E, reminds me of Money for Nothing, where it went C major. Here it goes D to E, but it modulates back to G minor, and so it goes into G minor, but here it goes from to A minor, which is actually the way it's supposed to go. So it's unusual in Money for Nothing because it goes from here to here, but it sounds seamless again. Beautiful songwriting, and here it just makes more sense to go through these chords back to A minor. From this folky, my guitar went a little bit out of tune as usual. I'm just glad that I discovered this, and so it was a great request. I just can't stop playing it. And so, to recap, if you just tuned in, I discussed the Don't You Get It from Mark Knopfler's 96 album Golden Heart. It's the great blues slash folk song, because the first part is this hardcore, amazing, driving blues riff. Which I discussed a lot in detail through the 7 levels of how you can approach this rhythm. From this double stop melody up to the how I play it. From the basic rhythm to the 7th level, and Mark's playing is level 100. So I have 93 levels to clear before I die. and I'll take a look at questions. Hello, hello from Brooklyn. Hello, Brazil. Croatia. You can do it. First of all, I'm not sure that I'm playing like the real thing, because in the real thing is just too perfect. But again, that's how I hear it, and I think that makes perfect sense to play like this, because again, I reverse engineered the whole riff, and it just makes sense, because the thing is that you can't really play it extremely different from what I'm doing, because you need to put other rhythms to it and other notes, and you can't really play it. So again, it's if you reverse engineer it, it doesn't make sense to add additional beats to it. So that's, I think, that's the way it goes, basically. So I'm just thrilled if some of my, I can't call them students, but if you're my student, but basically a fellow guitar player, if you can try these 7 steps and just from this, and whether it works for you or not, I think I really want for somebody to try it, because I tried for it to make sense. So it starts very simple, and then it gradually goes up to the hardest beats. In Romeo and Juliet, little finger E strings don't sound big. I can stand that. I can understand what you're talking about, and I can't really play it because that's not an open tuning. Now just ask me that by email, basically. Yeah, happy Christmas, and hi from Georgia, hi from Argentina. Amazing. And that's probably will be my shortest live stream, and that's a good thing, because you really don't want to watch a 3-hour live stream. And I really wanted to do this short at last. Again, it's a so enjoyable thing to play. Like many of Mark Knopfler's songs, and so I hope you enjoyed it. And hi from Cameroon and Zaporozhye, привет. Привет, Zaporozhye. Всегда приятно видеть зрителей из Украины и из России. И это удивительно, потому что здесь в Турции стоят машины рядом друг с другом, украинские с русскими. И мы тут с украинцами живем и спокойно общаемся. И вот такой вот мир у нас сегодня. I just said that here in Turkey we have Russian and Ukrainian cars just parked beside, right next to each other, and Ukrainians and Russians live in perfect harmony here. So, what gives? Yeah, I also went to that same show, and I went only to 3 shows in Mark's whole life and in my whole life in 2005, 2008, and 2019. So it was like St. Petersburg, and Lisbon. Just 3 shows in my entire life. I'm a strange fan. Anyway, I'll wrap this thing in 15 minutes if I'll not have additional questions. So the tablature for these 7 steps you can download in the description, and I believe I'll also update it with the because I can show you actually, because here you can see the 8th notes all the time. And by the way, you can see in the level 1, here is 8th notes, then a quarter note, then basically a quarter note here, and it gets, as it gets more complicated, the quarter notes get replaced with an 8th notes, to the point when on the level 6 and 7, actually the whole riff is composed from 8th notes, because almost on every single beat, and not only beat, but 1 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4, something happens basically. Only here we have a quarter note basically, but not exactly, because it's not a quarter note, it's 8th note and a mute, and so even if nothing gets played, it's still something, and so it's a mute. So it gets more complicated, and if I'll show you the finished version, like it would actually look, the whole song in tablature, it's actually in 16th. So it's just the same thing, only played in 16th note, as opposed to 8th notes. So that's the whole difference. Because the song is so fast, and here is the chorus, pre-chorus, and I'm already working on the solo, so here's the good news for you. So solo is also coming soon. It's incredibly fun to play the solo as well. It's always slowly but surely. And I think I'll do another explainer on the solo as well, because the solo is one of the best Mark Knopfler solos. I get asked about this solo all the time, but first I wanted to discuss the riff, because it doesn't make sense to play the solo like separately from the song, because the riff here is king, really. And this transition to folk part is just so seamless. Underrated song, and the song nobody cares about, and so that's my job to bring it, to make it great again, basically. So that's like my version of MAGA, or how it's called, make Don't You Get It great again. And so that's a great song, and again, with Mark, every song of his really deserves this attention. And so, because I'm actually having more fun playing Don't You Get It, this obscure song nobody cares about, even Mark himself, because he never played it live. So even so, I get more enjoyment from playing this song than I get from playing I'm Money for Nothing, because in Money for Nothing you don't have this backing, you don't have this backing rhythm, what I mean. And I need to delete this comment here, and this comment here, and this comment here. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, of course I can do Imelda the next time, because again, that guitar is the only guitar I have with me, and so it makes sense for me to do more of these overdriven songs. But to be honest, that thing would actually sound amazing in my usual setup when I do a whole song on an acoustic guitar. I'm sure this song would sound beautiful on acoustic guitar as well, because again, Mark's songs are so complete and so beautifully written that it really doesn't matter on which guitar you can play it. You can play it on a classical guitar. So any guitar will do, because all that really matters is this rhythm. All that matters is this rhythm, and again, this song gives you this. It's like a blues song in a sense, when the blues singer can accompany himself and sounds complete. And in this sense, this song is really complete with this folk transition. And again, Mark always says that his dream world is like the folk blues, really, where delta meets the Tyne, the river, and the Tyne is the northeast of England, and that song again brings this idea to life when you get a really blues, like overdriven rock riff, pair it with the really folky C major strumming song. And in the words of Rick Beato, I think that's really what makes this song great, and especially this riff. It's a really important riff for this song. And so I hope you enjoyed it. С наступающим! Привет Украине! Привет России, Algeria, Cameroon, Argentina, Canada, Paris, or how you can call it, Париж по-русски. So I'll just continue to play it for a little bit. I'm this a crazy type of a person. I'll continue for it to be exactly 1.5 hours. And by the way, my lessons, if you want some private lessons, you can just mail me at my email that you're looking at, what I have on screen here. And just email me. I already had multiple sessions and a couple of dozens of sessions, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun. Hi from France, hi from Belfast. So I would dream to visit both places. It gets harder and harder to travel, but I hope one day I will travel to England and to France once more, because I already were in France, but I never visited the UK, unfortunately, and Ireland. I actually want to visit Belfast because it has a Titanic museum, and I really want to look at this thing because I'm a huge fan of Titanic and Van Morrison. And Titanic and Van Morrison is what encompass Belfast for me. So that I would go there just to enjoy these things like Van Morrison and Titanic. Yeah, Silvertown Blues is a really amazing tune, and it's really hard to play because it's so... It's like just 3 notes, right? But again, it's a perfectly written song because from these 3 notes, I think I'll do it as well next. I'm just doing this electric guitar song, so I'll take a look at Silvertown Blues as well. It's an amazing song, beautifully written, like any Mark Knopfler song. You know me. And I will do that for sure. I need to do a solo from Don't You Get It? I need to do Silvertown Blues. Then I will do a couple of another songs. I have a lot of work to do, and if you want to support this, again, this second link is to my support options, and so that includes Patreon and the direct buy me a coffee. And so that really helps because I'm here in Turkey and I don't have a lot of money at all. So I'm basically in dire straits as always. That's been a theme for me for the last, I don't know, 3 years, because I lose my job after COVID, then I completely lose my job after the war. So right now I'm out of job and I'm out of money. So you can really help me, and so I can really help people. So I would never actually start teaching if not that thing. So I can use that time as an opportunity for me to grow as a teacher. So it's a two-way street, so I can give some content back to you and you can support me. It's as simple as that. And I'm getting more confident and more comfortable doing all this. Yeah, Mark's rare songs are probably his best songs are obscured songs for sure, but not exactly obscured because I can't call The Rag Picker's Dream an obscure song, but in a way it is because it's not up there with the greatest songs and stuff and blah blah blah, but to me it's the perfect song. I mean, it's my favorite song and it's the Christmas song actually, so it makes a lot of sense to learn it. So you can just go to my website and try to learn The Rag Picker's Dream. That would be great. A great Christmas tune and just a perfect moment to end the stream on the Rag Picker's Dream. But get yourself a capo because like almost every song Mark plays, he plays with a capo somewhere, including The Rag Picker's Dream. And so I think that's it for now. Hi to Ukraine, hi to all the rest of the world. Thank you for watching. And so see you later.